that keeps going on in my head.
It's already December. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
That wasn't my point, but okay, Disparity. December 5th, 2025 at anything you say want to say before I sentence him on this?
I think Mr. Reed, I'm going to let him speak on his own behalf. He's mentioned to me that he wants to speak to Your Honor. I will say he's, after our hearings, um, prior to the holiday, he did call me and kind of give me the lowdown on everything. I think he's incredibly remorseful for not being completely frank with myself and Your Honor at his last hearings. I think he's been in custody for 2 weeks now, and says he knows he needs to be better, and is dedicating himself to doing that moving forward. He really does want to get out of custody and get back to work, to support his children. He said this is the longest time, the amount of time he's been away from his children, and that's been one of the hardest things that he's been had to experience during this whole ordeal. But I think the time that he's had to think has really put things into perspective. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Reed because I think hearing from him directly will emphasize that.
Go ahead.
So yes, I did intentionally cut the tether, but once I did it, I something snapped in my head and I realized I was like, what am I doing? Like I know this is wrong. And I immediately got a hold of the emergency tether line. I called them, told them uh what happened, and they had me send
Well, you gave a version of what happened.
yeah, the version instead of telling the truth, which I definitely need to do point blank. Because when you don't tell the truth, it just makes things worse. Um, I did send pictures in. I still went to community corrections the next morning to get a new tether, and still showed up to court. Uh, and I've definitely had a lot of time to reflect on what I've done these last 2 weeks. It really hit me hard Thanksgiving morning when I woke up and realized that I wasn't gonna be able to see my kids for the holiday. And then I called my sister to ask if the kids were going to be at my family's Thanksgiving. And then when I found out that they weren't and I wasn't going to be able to talk to them that day, that also hit me really hard. And realizing that if I don't take accountability for my own actions and actually do what I'm supposed to, it's never going to get any better.
Did you really think I was going to buy your story?
I'm gonna be honest with you, no.
And why'd you keep doubling down?
I I have no idea, sir.
I mean, I'm looking at the cut on it, and I had it pretty much figured out.
Yeah, I even went and got super glue to try to super glue it back together.
Pardon?
I even got super glue from the store to try to super glue it back together. And then I realized that wasn't working. So
I mean, what were you thinking when you just decided you were going to cut it?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. I don't plan on running or anything. I've got kids that I want to be able to see, and I want to get out of this whole process and be able to continue on with life and not get in trouble again. I know what I did was completely wrong, and it should have never happened in the first place.
And you know, had you just told the truth over here, what, on November 17th?
Yes, sir.
Probably would have been out for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I realized that.
And all around this is just stupid.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you want to say before I sentence on this?
Nothing, Your Honor. I'd ask that the court sends him to credit for time served and reinstate his personal bond. As we say at the bench, he's being seen by Judge Perry on Wednesday. His bond there is denied, but she's kind of indicated she's waiting to see what Your Honor does.
Sentence you to 14 days, Washtenaw County Jail credit, 14 days served. Your previous bond with its conditions is reinstated. Ma'am, you are trying to address the court. What is she?
And that's correct, Your Honor. The victim is present to address the court if the court wanted to hear from her.
Yeah, what are we gonna do on this?
I'm asking instead for final settlement.
Are you gonna be ready Friday?
We asked for that date if the people will be ready, but I know it's
Well,
We'll do our best, Your Honor.
All right. Then I'll set jury final settlement conference.
what you said.
What is that?
It's the same.
December 5th. Today's the 1st. December 5th. Today's the 1st. That keeps going on in my head.
It's already December. Can you believe it?
yeah,
That wasn't my point, but okay, Ms. Verdi. December 5th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Jury selection, if necessary, in this case, will take place December 8th, 2025 at 8:30. Did you want to address me, Esteban?
You'll sit where Natalie's.
Yeah, you need to have a seat, sir.
As we reach the end of this unexpectedly intense courtroom hearing, it's important to step back and understand the full picture of what happened here today. What began as a straightforward probation violation, just a simple admission of cutting a tether, slowly transformed into a revealing exploration of human decision-making, accountability, and the quiet battles people fight behind closed doors. Mr. Reed didn't come into this courtroom trying to defend what he did. In fact, he admitted almost immediately that he cut the tether intentionally. But this case quickly showed us that the violation itself wasn't the core issue, it was the story he built afterward. Instead of telling the truth, he created a version that he hoped the court would accept. And when the judge challenged that version, the truth unraveled moment by moment until we discovered something no one expected, that he had even tried to superglue the tether back together in a desperate attempt to hide what he'd done. This wasn't just a legal mistake. It was a moment of panic, and panic can push people toward decisions that make their situation dramatically worse. Judges see thousands of cases, and when someone doubles down on a lie, it becomes less about the violation and more about trust. That's why the judge's question, "Did you really think I was going to buy your story?" hit so hard. It wasn't anger, it was disbelief. But the surprising part of this hearing wasn't the confrontation, it was the emotional breakdown that followed. When Mr. Reed described missing Thanksgiving, being separated from his children. Realizing he couldn't even hear their voices that day, the courtroom shifted. What we witnessed wasn't just remorse. It was the realization of how one impulsive act can ripple through a person's life, affecting not just themselves, but the people who depend on them. And that is where judges walk a very delicate line, balancing accountability with humanity. Cutting a tether is a serious violation, but the court had to weigh that against the sincerity of his reflection, the time he had already spent in custody, and his desire to correct course. In the end, the judge delivered a ruling that balanced both sides, 14 days time served, followed by reinstated bond conditions. It wasn't leniency, it was a second chance bound by strict expectations. What this case truly highlights is a universal lesson. The justice system reacts not only to what you do, but to how honest you are about it. A violation can be managed, but dishonesty multiplies consequences. Every legal decision that follows, bond, sentencing, negotiation, depends on the court's level of trust in the defendant. And once that trust is damaged, rebuilding it becomes a long, difficult process. Still, this case leaves us with something more than legal insight. It reminds us that behind every courtroom file number is a human being trying, failing, learning, and stumbling towards something better. Mr. Reed now has the opportunity to return to his children, return to his responsibilities, and rebuild the structure he said he desperately wants. But the next steps are entirely on him. Before we close out this video, I want to hear your thoughts. Did the judge get it right? Was the sentence fair? Should the court have been stricter, or was this balanced accountability? And most importantly, do you believe Mr. Reed truly learned from this experience? Or is this another temporary promise that may break under pressure? Your perspective matters, and your comments help shape the discussions we build with each case we cover. So drop your opinions below. I read every single one. And if you found this breakdown eye-opening, dramatic, or even frustrating in all the right ways, make sure you hit the like button, share this video with someone who loves real courtroom stories, and subscribe to the channel for more shocking, emotional, and unforgettable cases just like this. Thank you for watching, thank you for supporting the channel, and as always, stay informed, stay aware, and above all, stay honest.